Good evening and welcome to tonight's Talim, Family Talim. We are going to have at least 3 segments very briefly. Then we are going to allow us to interact. Number 1, we are going to remind ourselves that last week we opened a discussion on 2 points. Previous discussion on special people that we will marry and have to consciously manage. These are firstborn, lastborn, only child. If we marry any of them, they are special people because their circumstances of birth are special. And these circumstances will always affect everybody. Whoever, whoever is Dada, for example, whoever is firstborn is additional, is a boss. And then a boss does not bend, and so on. So we discussed this. We now went home with the assignment that if we have more data, more experiences on their characteristics and effective management strategy to make their marriage a success, we would like to have it. Most of these people are great people. Every firstborn is great. Every lastborn is great. Every lone child is great. And sometimes the only child is the only child because of his or her greatness. Other children may not survive because of his or her greatness. And the last child is coming last because of his or her greatness. Because any child that comes after the last child will not survive. So Allah carefully chooses the creation of these people. And so we have to know how to manage their peculiar characteristics. A great person has, like you have discussed before, certain characteristics. They are emotional. They are mostly not usually able to make success of their marriages. Firstborns hardly make success of their marriages, except where in few cases their marriages are exceptional, and it's not in all cases. They always have the tendency to have multiple marriages, whether male or female. So they're not great family people. But few people have the good luck of being great family people. Their marriages are usually irregular. And so we have to watch out and see whether we can manage to prevent catastrophe in the marriages of these special people. The one we newly introduced is the twins. Yeah, they are peculiar people. They have similar minds and so on. We talked about the men being a peculiar mess, and the women being particularly crafty, beyond ordinary women. May Allah give us success in our marriages. Now, the second issue is ayah 15 and 16 of Suratul Nisah that we are reading. Ayah 14 and 15 are discussed in the voice note that is on the Dear Family WhatsApp platform. We have details there. But what we underlined in the 2 ayah is the different treatment of women who commit zina and men who commit zina. Consensus seems to be that Ayah 15 has been abrogated by Ayah 2 of Suratul Nur. There is the second Ayah of Suratul Nur that prescribes the punishment for zina, especially for young people who are not married, that we give them 100 lashes, that we beat them severely, we flog them publicly, we make them marry each other, and we banish them for 1 year, so that when they are coming back, they'll be coming back as new entrants into the community, and they will have been sanitized. If anything has happened, either through the zina they committed or the marriage they are forced to do, then they will have, regularized the marriage, and the child will be a legitimate child after they must have received the 100 lashes as punishment for reckless sexual life. We saw that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says 2 women that commit adultery. In this case, the text does not specify that the women committed adultery with men. And Allah did not ask the men they probably committed adultery with to be, to be imprisoned in the house until they die, or until Allah brings another law, which suggests that, like the ordinary reading of Ayah 16 suggests, it is lesbianism. But consensus of scholars seems to be that that was the punishment for zina before the revelation of Ayah 2 of Suratul Nur that abrogated it. But Ayah 16 is specific that punish men, 2 men that commit illegal sexual intercourse, punish them. And the punishment before the revelation of Suratul Nur was to shame them, and then to abuse them, to beat them, to embarrass them, to make them ride a donkey, backing the donkey. The donkey will be going east, they will face west, and then people will follow them and make a lot of fun about them. Later, the Prophet ﷺ says, if anybody commits the adultery of the people of Lut, kill him. And the ayah did not say, punish them until Allah brings another one. We now concluded that it is part of the honor that Allah gives to women in Islam. Allah honors women so much that it is just imprisonment. But for the men, it is severe punishment. Allah did not say beat the women that commit lesbianism, if that is the spirit of the ayah. If the ayah implies that 2 women committed lesbianism, it means that they were merely seeking pleasure, probably because they were not married. It is not possible for a married woman to seek, if there is no psychiatric problem, if there is no demonic possession, a woman will ordinarily not want to commit lesbianism when she is married. She may divorce if she's not getting sexual satisfaction. It is only a girl that can do it with another girl. But what is certain here is that Allah has exposed the satanic influence and role in committing irregular sexual offenses. because the regular sexual offense, which is fawahish, is zina, a man committing adultery with a woman. So if it is adultery, it will have been the two. But if it is only the women that should be, kept in their houses till they die, or until Allah reveals something else, then it is an irregular sexual intercourse, which is worse than zina. But because there is no danger, nobody is going to marry a lesbian and have issue with the woman with whom she committed lesbianism. But any man, an average man, is going to have problem with any man that committed adultery or fornication with a woman he wants to marry. So the shame, the pressure is on the man, but the kindness is for the woman. So the man does not want to see the man that defiled his wife, the man that, deflowered his wife. The man will be proud to marry the former wife of another man, being the now current champion. But he will feel disgraced to be married to a woman who another man is seeing. The nature of the man is to want to eliminate him. So Allah knows what he has created. He has decreed that any man that commits adultery should be stoned to death along with the woman. Even if the wife of the adulterer may not really be desperate about the woman who committed adultery with her husband, it is not the jealousy type of reaction. It is enmity. It is enmity because an average woman will look at the woman who her husband is running after as inferior to her. This may not be objective, but there is no woman that will accept that a wife of another man is superior to her. She would think that another wife is inferior to her because she is also a wife. As for a divorcee, a widow, or a single girl that her husband wants to marry, this is a competitor. And then she will be ready to give her all the competition. But another married woman in another man's house is an inferior material. And then she doesn't want to see her. That is why Allah Kuku say, eliminate the man and the woman who committed adultery while they are married. Allahu Akbar. The Sharia of Islam has taken care of everything about us. Allah knows how we feel, and He has given us ordinances to take care of our feelings. So this is the observation we made on those two ayatain. Now we go to the main business for tonight. We said that when your spouse becomes emotionally abusive, there are unspoken reasons for it. We now said that, number one, emotional abuse is always not adequately reported because people do not know that emotional abuse usually leads to physical abuse. Two, people do not know that emotional abuse is worse than physical abuse, especially against the woman, especially against the man. Well, let me explain. Especially against the woman, because when you emotionally abuse a woman, referring to her family, abusing her, rubbishing her, calling her out, telling her she's nothing. Putting her down, she becomes miserable. She loses her confidence. She does not trust you anymore. You break her heart, and broken heart is very difficult to stitch together. The heart of the man is easy to stitch because the worst that a man can do is to divorce. When a man divorces, he breaks another person's heart, not his own heart. Whatever is trying to break the heart of a man will break it back. But a woman cannot break the heart of a man easily because she's created to be a special breed. She's a good person. But the man is created to be a strong person. A strong person is not necessarily good because strength is used to break things. When you are strong, you will be used against a weak matter in order to show. You cannot be strong without breaking a weak thing or man or woman. So you cannot be a strong man if you cannot break another man or woman. So these are the issues. We find that when a woman emotionally abuses the man becomes desperate to physically abuse her. If the man is so kind, so good, that he cannot physically abuse, the worst he can do is to revenge, to emotionally abuse the woman, reduce her to nothing, call her out, and make her permanently damaged in the heart. That will whatever. So we have this situation where the man responds to emotional abuse by going physical. He will become physically abusive. We also have situations where the man is the one that is emotionally abusive because the woman is surrounded by circumstances that would make it impossible for her to react and to respond to emotional abuse successfully. So we have this continuous oppression while we are in marriages. When you emotionally abuse a man, it affects him in every sense. It affects him psychologically, it affects him emotionally, it affects him in every way. Indeed, sometimes a woman can run a man mad. They are merely saying things. When a woman says some things, an average man loses erection. When a woman opens her mouth and says things to an average man, he loses erection. Once a man loses erection as a result of emotional abuse by his wife, the wife is in trouble, except if he doesn't have the capacity to deal with her. By the time he comes back, the woman will not forgive and will not forget the emotional abuse that will be the revenge of the man that has earlier been emotionally abused. So we have these situations. We now broke it into three. We said there are three types of emotional abuse in relationships. Number one, congenital. In other words, natural. This person has natural reasons to be abusive and there is no solution. You can only understand him or her. If you try to respond, you will never be happy. Number two, habitual emotional abuse. Here, it has become a habit as a result of response to perennial problems. The problems that are not spoken out, do not go. Therefore, emotional abuse will not go. Anytime there's a trigger, the man or the woman will emotionally abuse his or her spouse because they are both responding to an underlying fundamental problem that they are finding difficult to solve. So as long as these problems remain with them, they cannot have peace. It will become an habit to always abuse each other. Number 3, occasional emotional abuse. This happens to everybody. Bolaji Rasheedat, mute now. Bolaji Rasheedat, ever mute there. One of the hosts, please mute this sister. When you have a problem and you're not sharing, for example, and there's a small problem, that would be immediate cause of emotional abuse. The problems you have not shared is the remote cause of emotional abuse. Everybody is affected by occasional emotional abuse. When you pile up your anger, you now transfer your aggression to your spouse, and you are reckless in opening your mouth too wide to say things to your spouse. Everybody experiences it, and this is not a serious problem, except that we should not allow occasional emotional abuse to become habitual emotional abuse. The causes of habitual and occasional emotional abuse are virtually the same because it is a problem that affects conjugal relationship and then makes intimacy unenjoyable or unattainable or virtually impossible. And so a man will necessarily be angry, and he can definitely become emotionally abusive. The woman will, in response to the emotional abuse of the man will think that denial of intimacy is emotional abuse. He will now voice out. Voicing out will now make the woman respond, and matters will become complicated. When the man travels a lot, he puts the wife into psychiatric mode. An average wife does not like her husband traveling, except if they travel together. That's a pleasure, they enjoy it. And every woman who loves her husband does not enjoy her husband traveling. No matter what phone call you do, whether you are doing video call, you are even doing the thing virtually, is not equal to traveling for too long. A travel of 40 days in 4 months. If you travel for 40 days in 4 months, you have fundamentally abused your wife, but you may not understand. If, for example, you are a monthly husband, you will discover that in 4 months, you have not been around for 40 days. There's no way you come home every month. How many days are you spending? And then it is not every weekend that you come home, every month end that you come home, that you do your duty. There may be times when the duties will be impossible. Even public holidays may not be feasible for you to come home. So being absent, absentee husband is looking for trouble and is doing things that will make the wife feel emotionally abused. But a woman will not tell you because it's an unknown reason. Isaac, mute now. Isaac, mute now. Sister Rukaya, Iwo Wamutu. So we find this situation in most homes. Career men, career women, they are causing trouble. Now let's go down. The natural abusive person is either born into a tribe that have the trait of being talkative, like Ibadan people. An average Ibadan people is reputed to be mouthy. He or she will talk. If you take them too seriously, you are going to give yourself trouble, except if you are both Ibadan or Ibadan people born in Ibadan. Like some of us, because there are three types of Ibadan people. Those that are born there, that live there, they are Ibadan. Those that whose parents are Ibadan, they are Ibadan. And those who migrated and then decide to have their children in Ibadan, they are also Ibadan. A lot of them have become so much of Ibadan that only few people know that they're not originally from Ibadan because their children are Ibadan. So you have imbibed this trait, these characteristics, Allah Sultan, Allah Sojamu in Ibadan. Ibadan song, no matter what you do, Ibadan will talk. When he or she start talking, hey, God have mercy. It's only an Ibadan person like him or her that can understand. Because in most cases, if it was something you know, lo tosi, Ìbàdàn ní ẹnu ó fẹ́ sọ̀rọ̀ tiẹ̀ kó máa lọ ni. Tí wọ́n bá wá jẹ́ Ọ̀yọ́ mi, Ọ̀yọ́ ní Ìbàdàn náà, when you are another kind of Yoruba or non-Yoruba married to an Ibadan, you will have problem forever. You must understand that, no, these ones, they talk. We go to Ijebu. Ijebu are the second side of Ibadan. Ijebu will not talk much, but it's not diplomatic. He tells you anything he wants to tell you. She tells you whatever she wants to tell you. Oh, her. They don't hide. They hardly tell lies. Ijebus hardly tell lies because they don't hide anything. So when you marry an Ijebu woman, no, you have to be extremely careful to manage her because she will tell you whatever she feels straight from her heart. She's not a regular person. You marry an Ijebu man, you misbehave, no, Ijebu man will tell you straight away. He's not an Oyo person who may diplomatically tell you that your head is not correct. Ijebu man will say, this is what I feel about you, go to places. Owu will forever nag. Owu will always nag. Thank you for giving me this more data. Now let me start from the rear. Akure people are also like that. They virtually kill with their mouth. Yeah, I remember when I served in Akure, oh my God, most Akure women that marry non-Akure, particularly Ekiti women, Ekiti men that marry Akure women, we always fight. Ilukuluni, because Oreno Iyawo Akure Oda. So this is it. Whether we like it or not, you might, yeah, I do any professor, I do any. So when we marry Owu, just pray that there is no problem. If there's a problem and you are at fault, who will not forgive, he will not forget, he will nag you forever. Torí pé àwí ìmẹ́nu kúrò ní tòun. There are many instances like this. Ọ̀yọ́ ń tiẹ̀, ọ̀rọ̀ rẹ̀ ò pọ̀. Ṣùgbọ́n ọ̀rọ̀ ẹ̀ wà creative. Ọ̀rọ̀ tí kò ní tán lọ yóò sọ. Just pray you don't offend another person. Àwọn ló máa ń fẹ́ ọ̀rọ̀ lójú tí wọ́n ní. Tó bá sọ ha, á dẹ̀ bá fẹ́ lójú. Èkìtì take nonsense. Ó wà lára yín. Ó wà lára yín o. So bó ṣe rí ni, we must understand that this is not a problem. Emotionally abused with naturally abusive people is not a problem we can solve. It is a problem we must understand. When your spouse, who is naturally abusive, starts abuse, you just ignore. Even when you ignore her, she will still taunt you, still nag you. Just ignore and don't cause problem. When you are the same, you are in trouble. You are in trouble. You only have to give time to cool down, to calm down, so that the devil will find his way out of your home. When naturally abusive people now have unspoken reasons, other unspoken reasons. The first unspoken reason, it is their nature to talk. And when they talk, they are reckless. And when they just feel that let me just say what is in my mind. I'm a simple person. I'm not an alabosi kind of person. And the result is always trouble. When you marry the Oyos from Iwo, Ede, Oshogbo, and so on, and you are not part of them, you are not likely to have peace. Because ọ̀rọ̀ díẹ̀ táwọn èèyàn máa sọ, ó máa kápá lórí àwọn ìran míì. Àti tí Ìbàdàn bá fẹ́ Òṣogbo, wọ́n ó dára wọn láàmú púpọ̀. Yes, because àyàfi kó jẹ́ pé Òṣogbo tó jẹ́ ọkọ yẹn, ó burú gan ju Ìbàdàn yẹn lọ. Ó dẹ̀ ní reason láti calm it down. Bí bẹ́ẹ̀ kọ́, àwọn méjèèjì ó dára wọn láàmú. Number 2, habitual abusive person. Yes, there are a number of reasons that are not spoken of that cause habitual abuse. Somebody who has become, whose second name is Elekebu, jẹ́ pé kò sí ẹni tí ó lè bú, kò dẹ̀ sígbà tí ó lè bú ọkọ ẹ̀, kò sígbà tí ọkọ náà lè bú ìyàwó ẹ̀. Well, there are reasons that cause it. Àwí ìmẹ́nu kúrò ń tòwó káàrẹ̀ ọmọ mi. Okay, you now understand some people's behavior. Ara nǹkan tá a fẹ́ gé nínú platform yìí náà nìyẹn. Now, let's go to habitual abusive people. Yeah, you see, sometimes the fundamental reason why people become habitually abusive is response to disappointment. And there are 2 popular examples. One is, it has to do with chastity. If you marry somebody, you are a chaste man, for example. You marry an Hijabite, you expect her to be chaste. But because she loves you, she became afraid to tell you her past. And then you married. And first night, you discover that she's not a virgin. Her trust immediately runs out of your house. trust immediately runs out of your house. Next, you discover that it was not just that she was raped or it was just one experience like that. It was that she had had relationships. Next, you discover that she had even terminated pregnancies. Next, you discover that she had even had a baby or two. But your chastity did not allow you to ask questions. Your naivety, your innocence did not allow you to investigate anything. The two of you became desperate to marry, and it was long after marriage that you discovered all these things. From that point, any small problem will be interpreted in terms of our past, and the man will become emotionally abusive. There's nothing this woman can do to make the man trust her again. The solution is for the woman to either take it as her own fate, as punishment from Allah for her bad past, and then to pray to Allah to help her to calm her husband down. If the emotional abuse becomes unbearable, then she may take the option of divorce. And why divorcing? If she's going to remarry, she will have learned a lesson from that one. Nusirat. Lucy. Iya Abdurraqib. This is how we get to know people who are not listening. They are just on the platform, they are not listening. So if you get to know that your spouse has a particular past that you don't like, take it as one, she was created from you. You are not better than Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. His first wife was twice married, twice widowed. So what's the big deal? You calm down. You take it as you may hate something in her, this particular past, and Allah may put a great deal of khair into it. It may be a punishment for a particular sin you committed. It may be a mirror of your own relationship with Allah. So we can calm down. We can calm down. Secondly, when the marriage was a society marriage, and both sides expected that there will be material gain in this marriage, and then fifth year, 10th year, poverty still continues to be their lot. There is no way there will be no emotional abuse in this kind of marriage. So there will be emotional abuse. So this emotional abuse is as a result of disappointment. You did marriage and you go on more. And usually the wife does not know that bubuni. The wife may not know that the husband was desperate to marry her. That's why he probably borrowed, his parents borrowed to satisfy the in-law, whereas there is nothing much. When we get this shock, it will become habitual emotional problem, habitual emotional abuse, because you will be reacting. Expectations have failed. You have been disappointed. And so anything that happens will be, referenced backward. Because the problem is not going. It will affect your confidence. It will affect intimacy. And once intimacy is affected, both parties, without saying it, becomes matched. When you're not really enjoying each other, you're not going to tell anybody that this is the cause of the problem. but you will also always describe the event that sparks and triggers the present problem. So, somebody expects that somebody that she has been seeing outside, maybe is married, she now thinks that if she marries him as second wife, she'll be enjoying like his first wife is enjoying. And she doesn't know that the first wife was taking care of herself. When she marries him and she finds out that everybody in the family is on his own, she will spark. Any small thing, she will start abusing the husband. The husband may also abuse her. And then she would threaten her with divorce, and she wouldn't want to divorce. So there won't be peace. There will be emotional abuse habitually. Another cause of this that is not spoken is our career. When the husband is poor and the wife is a career woman, she's making progress. The husband will, let us not use any adverb, will, unfortunately, interestingly, let's not use bad adverb. Believe that if he doesn't have iman, that is using, the wife is using his arisiki. This is a very common complaint. Or it is what is inside the husband, but he's not going to say it. So any small thing, he will spark. Any small thing, blah, 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 blah. He will threaten divorce. The wife will not want to divorce because there will be some reasons that will not make this woman want to divorce. Sometimes it is a discovery of a very dirty part of each other. If the husband catches the wife and the wife bribes the husband, say, "Pami silima, pami sita, dariji mi ni shebem, pact wa láàrin, ọmọ ò gbọ́dọ̀ gbọ́, ọ̀rẹ́ ò gbọ́dọ̀ gbọ́, ẹbí ò gbọ́dọ̀ gbọ́, ẹ̀ẹ́dẹ̀ fẹ́ kọra yín." Emotional abuse, mama lonely, because nobody will intervene and hear the truth about what happens. Sometimes the husband is the one that is lying. When the husband accuses the wife of making it through prostitution, making it through using her body, and then abusing him because he does not have money. So it becomes habitual emotional abuse. So we have other reasons. When people become fetish, fetishism destroys homes. When one party does not like it, but one party must be fetish continuously, any small problem will be as a result of this fetish practice. So, àwọn tún ti sọ fún ẹ pé wọ́n tún ti ní kó ṣe kíní kan, àwọn tó ń pò kọ ìbànújẹ́ fún ẹ, it will not go. So there are many other things like that that we cannot say out. But when we want to intervene between husband and wife, ẹjọ́ tòní ló máa rò, wọn ní rojọ́ ìjẹta, ìjẹrin, àtàná. Each party will tell us what happened today that made one of them abuse the other. And you are likely to get confused. Sometimes when husband and wife state their case, you find that both are right. Sometimes both are wrong. Sometimes it hardly happens that one is right and one is wrong. Because when one is right and one is wrong, the one that is wrong will certainly apologize. Men don't. women do. Very smart, very reasonable, very intelligent women will apologize, even when they are right. But a situation where each party believes that he or she is right, there is a problem that they are not exposing to the person that wants to intervene. There is an unspoken reason. And these unspoken reasons may be anything. So you have habitual abuse as a result of something that you discover after marriage that you cannot say. Sometimes you marry a man because you feel that you'll be able to satisfy you sexually. And you find out that he can't. You like to go more than one round, and this man is weak. He can only come once in, only once, and not more than 3 times in a week. And these 3 times will be only once. And then you like this thing and you have the capacity for it, you want to enjoy your life. You cannot divorce. You cannot make him do the needful. There will be emotional abuse. An average woman would rather not have it than have half of it, or really none of it. The man will now complicate the matter if he's now talking about masna. You have married one, you have not married finish. You are thinking of marrying a second one. And then this kind of problem is due to non-communication. We are not talking. We are not talking. And the average Muslim woman will not talk because she'll be afraid. How can I possibly tell my husband that I'm not enjoying sex? What will he say? So if there is a solution to it, you cannot get it because you are not talking. You are not saying it. It is something you are not speaking about. So the emotional abuse will become habitual. It becomes the habit of both spouses to abuse each other. The occasional one may be due to present pressure, a problem that you cannot discuss with your spouse. So when another problem comes, the anger that you have been harboring, bottled up anger, will make it spark. When there is no money and you are not broke all the time, it's not like the habitual one, but you are broke and there is need to spend money. Trouble my wow. And an average man will not tell the wife that it shouldn't be now. How can I be sick when I have no money? You sick, there may be trouble. So occasionally, when we are broke, occasionally, when we have problem, we cannot share with our spouse. So every small thing becomes a reason for us to emotionally abuse each other. In your question, somebody offended you and you cannot deal with that person. You come home and deal with your spouse now. This is one of the reasons that we have emotional abuse occasionally. We have 9 minutes. I want to listen to you in 9 minutes and reach this. And then, if possible, we have the part 2 next week. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Raise your hand. Somebody was raising hand the other time. Gbogbo ẹ ti yé wa ni. Èwo ni o correct? I will raise your hand for you. Some people who could not add their names, I will call you now to raise your hand for you.
Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, my daughter. How now?
Yeah, I think thank you very much for the lecture. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala preserve it for us. Yeah, on the issue of people's behavior, like say probably if you're an old person, you have the are we menukuro or asojam kind of a thing. I know the person will become a social dependent of who you are, probably what we have been exposed to, both internally and externally. But I think Islam too should also come to play a part on probably how we behave. For the fact that there's somebody, maybe the Oyo Ibadan, that has the Asojam part in their lineage, I think probably Islam should, our understanding of Islam should also affect how we continue to talk or how we continue to behave. So that's just what I'm trying to see, that perhaps we have the more understanding of the religion, that can also shape our life.
Yeah. The understanding of the religion does not change people's nature, but it can make them adjust. For example, if the Allah Sojamu finishes his Sojamu and is a Muslim, he can say sorry.
Okay.
He should end there. Okay. But if he doesn't have Islam, and then the trouble will not end. The fact that Umar bin Khattab became a Muslim did not change him now. Khalid bin Walid did not change. You know, they only cry when they remember their sins, and they cry, seek apology when they offend people. Even when Umar bin Khattab became the Amir, he didn't stop hitting people with stick now. He was always carrying that stick about, and he will have hit you. Muslim, the Amir, he will have hit you finished. When you correct him and you find out that he finds out that he was wrong, he will apologize. Islam will only calm us down, make us realize that we have wronged somebody, but Islam will not stop us from wronging people, if that is our motto. What Islam can do to a naturally promiscuous person, sexually strong person, is to make him marry more wives as a man, and to divorce and marry and divorce and marry as a woman. Islam will not stop the sexual strength in him or her. Islam does not change your nature. It is part of your nature. It allows you to display, demonstrate, enjoy your nature in halal way. Although Allah has said that takullah wa kulu qawlan sadida yuslihi lakum a'malakum. Fear Allah and say words straight to the point. It will repair your deeds. Wa yakfir lakum dhunubakum. It will, saying good things will also be a source of forgiveness of your sin. Meaning that we will certainly have people who will need this ayah, so that the Islam in them will make them say sorry. Wallahu alam. Janice iPhone.
Salam alaikum, sir.
Alaikum salam.
My question is on the punishment later for synod. Punishment for synod. Are all these punishment, are they still operational, especially in a secular country like ours? And secondly, what effect does the constitutional law have on them?
Well, even if the Sharia is not allowed to be operational, our faith is not prevented from being operational. We must believe in it. It doesn't matter whether it is operational. A person who takes the cover of the constitution of a secular state to commit zina will face Allah with his wrath. So we cannot use the constitution that does not allow us to punish people who commit zina as a cover to commit zina. What we know is that this is the punishment for zina. Whoever is not punished here will enter hell for committing zina. So we don't need the Sharia implementation to stop zina. After all, it is deterrence. It is meant to deter people from committing zina. If you know that the punishment for zina is stoning to death, you are going to avoid committing it. If you have the fear that if man doesn't see you, Allah sees you, you will not bother yourself about whether anybody will punish you or not. You know that Allah will punish you. So Islamic Sharia is both spirit and letter. Spirit that, well, Allah says don't go there. These are hudud. Don't do it. Absolutely. Your faith will tell you, I must not do it. Then the letter. If there is opportunity to implement, then you are punished. Wallahu ta'ala alam. I saw Professor Abdulwahid Banbade raising his hand. And you call now.
I want you. Chamber means.
Mungbo. I'm with you.
Alhamdulillah, I'm happy to be part of this discussion tonight. I've always been trying to join up, but at times I will have forgotten and the time will have been fast spent. I think, these are new insights into marital management. And these ethnic peculiarities would help us further on how to navigate through marital discord. Discord. As you have said, as you have rightly said, at times you don't know how to be helpful. In a marital misunderstanding, when both of them, when the couple, when they narrate their ordeal, and then you wonder, what do you want to say now? But then my fear here is whether our women now will not begin to hide behind these attitudes, saying that at least I am from this place and this is our own, peculiarity, and then so you should understand. So I'm wondering, how can we mitigate these peculiarities so that it doesn't snowball into something that we won't, that the man or that the woman will not be able to, manage.
Yeah, thank you, Prof. Yeah, I've said it. The iman in us, we moderate our nature. And even if we will violate certain rules due to our nature, the iman in us will make us say, I'm sorry. The iman will not make us hide under this nature that you know me now. This is my nature. The iman will not allow us to hide under nature to misbehave. Ordinarily, a healthy man is not happy marrying only one wife. Am I right? It is iman that does not make an average man with one wife commit zina and then oppress the wife. Sometimes your capacity and your desire for polygamy without the requisite capacity can cause emotional abuse.
Yes.
So
taking it out on the woman.
You cannot now say it is my nature to have 2, 3, 4 wives and you are the ones preventing me from having 2, 3, 4 wives, so I will deal with you. No, 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 no. Even when once in a while you burst, you will still find a way of mitigating it. So the iman in us, we moderate our nature.
Okay.
So there is no problem about that. Let me quickly attempt to, thank you very much, Prof, for your input. Well, can woman who get fat after cause emotional abuse? Of course. Even the woman that did not get fat later can cause emotional abuse. There are a lot of funny things that we hear. We have seen a situation where a man that wanted to divorce his wife gave the excuse that he didn't know that she was that fat, and the marriage was not up to 6 months. You know, when we are in trouble, when Shaitan enters our home, there is no excuse that we can give to emotionally abuse our spouse. And that is the unspoken part of it. Unspoken because many people do not see beyond their spouses, especially women. They don't want to agree that what is happening is the work of Shaitan. No, an average woman doesn't believe that it is Shaitan. It is the husband. And even the husband too, in some cases, will even say that even if it is Shaitan, it is that woman that is the Shaitan. So it can happen. Possible solution to a man who emotionally abused his wife. This is not possible in the public. We will know the reason for the habitual emotional abuse. We have to take them one-on-one to know the reasons, then we will know the solution. But we cannot just say that this is the solution because we don't know them. We don't know the underlying factors, the unspoken reasons why they abuse each other. Sometimes the man that emotionally abuses his wife is responding to the wife's emotional abuse too. We have to know many of these things before we take action. Some alpha contribute to the way women are abused because women's reaction sometimes to this abuse is misinterpreted as being impatient, rude, intolerant. Yes, especially among the Salafi people. They emotionally abuse their wives a lot, and they say that they don't have iman. That's why there's a lot of depression going on outside. I agree with you. There's a lot of depression because this emotional abuse is not being reported. There is no appropriate response to it. There is no understanding of it. And people are afraid of walking out of emotionally abused marriage. And sometimes when it is going to cause psychiatric problem, it is better we walk out of it. Wallahu ta'ala alam. Yeah, we want to end. We recognize the fact that our chief host is not able to continue this. So we take Sulaiman Olubumi Ganiyu and ask is the national coordinator here? We want national coordinator to.
Yes, sir.
Okay, you will give us the closing, everything. You will close everything after Dr. Sulaiman Ganiyu.
Assalamu alaikum, sir. I want to respond to Professor Abdulwahid's question about managing emotional abuse from the point of view of locality, the peculiarities of I want to refer him to your lecture on peaceful home, peaceful world, your tafsir of Suratul Balad. Knowing the origin of your spouse and being able to manage it by recognizing the fact that this person is from here and these are the peculiarities of people from this particular part of the world, And you're being able, after you have known this, to cope with such peculiarity, because like you have said, for example, an Omoba, for example, a princess behaves somehow. A firstborn will behave somehow. Somebody from somewhere. In fact, I often tell people to go and learn the oriki of the township of whoever you want to marry, the oriki of their house. Oriki Lewa.
Very important. Very important.
So much about them. And it will eventually show in their dispositions in the future. So when this starts happening, remind yourself that this person is like this. So begin to do wasu for yourself to calm down. Because yes, sir. So this, I think, will assist us much in being able to respond to these idiosyncrasies when they begin to happen in future.
Thank you very much, my brother. Thank you very, very much. Jazakallah khairan, especially for that reference. Maybe once in a while we bring it back and post it for a reminder. Yeah, National Coordinator, over to you.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. We thank everybody. We thank our Imam. May Allah continue to preserve him on goodness and give him the sound health to take. We thank everybody for being attentive and attending this program. We pray that whatever we have learned will be beneficial to us, both in this world and the hereafter. Can we mute them? Or who are those people talking? Adedayo, Tawakal, Maria.
I'm not talking, no. I'm not talking, no.
Please mute yourself. So we thank everybody for being part of this activity. We hope we have learned one lesson or the other. Our objective for bringing this program up is to make sure that we manage our home so that it can be a journey for us in this world. So that by Allah's grace, we are going to enter a journey in the hereafter. It's not only left for us to be listening to Imam every week. It is high time we go and sit down, maybe after the session, discuss it in our family, and put out a strategy that we can use to bring it to our lives and the life of people that are in our circle of influence, especially those who could not attend, or those who attend and they don't have the wherewithal to execute it. We thank you and we pray Almighty Allah to make it beneficial for us. Jazakumullah khairan. Subhanallah, subhanaka, bihamdik, ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta, astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Subhana rabbika rabbil izzati amma yasifun. Assalamu alaikum.